You know how a few years ago, after Henrik Sedin retired with that C, a lot of Canucks fans already knew, hey, the next guy that's going to wear this letter is going to be Bo Horvat. We knew from the moment the Sedins announced their retirement, okay, yeah, Bo's going to be the next captain. It may not happen next year, it may not happen 2 years from now, but it's going to happen. Bo is going to be the guy. And, long story short, Bo Horvat was the captain of the Vancouver Canucks. He was admittedly a good talker, like he would say the right things in the media, but the results on the ice were not great. The Canucks sucked, and as a result, you saw a lot of fans over the course of Bo Horvat's tenure as the captain slowly start to turn on the guy. Hey, how many times can you say that we need to be better? How many times can you say in the media that the play of the Canucks is unacceptable? How many times can you go out there and make the same excuses? Obviously, the captain is not going to be the one player that changes it all, but over time, you could understand how these repetitive answers and the same rinse and repeat cookie-cutter statements would not really calm the fans down when they were losing a bunch of games and not getting any better. That was Bo Horvat's captaincy with the Canucks, and unfortunately, it came to an end when he got traded to the New York Islanders, and now he is over there, he got the contract, $9.5 million a year, it's whatever. But now, the Vancouver Canucks, captainless for the first time since Henrik Sedin retired in 2018, are going to need to make that choice. Who is the next captain? Now, the thing is, after Bo Horvat left, we didn't really have the same immediate answer, the same unanimous answer at least, like we did when Henrik Sedin left. It was okay, Bo Horvat is going to be the captain, we all know what's going to happen, but this time around, it was not the same. We had people saying, okay, Pettersson. Yeah, Pettersson is probably the default answer because he's young enough to lead this team. He's got that stoic mindset. He's got that killer mentality. And he is just the epitome of the personality the Canucks could really benefit from having as a leader. You had other options like JT Miller, the most vocal player on the team. He talks the best to the media, and he takes accountability, especially with himself. JT, though, had a lot of flaws in that he will get very angry sometimes, and people would debate, is that the quality that you want out of your captain? Do you want a guy who will give up on a play and stop backchecking when he muffles a shot in overtime? Do you want a guy who will slam his stick against the back of his goaltender's net and start yelling at his goalie? Is that captain material? And then you have yourselves the guy that I wanted to talk about here today. He's a name that I think has shot up to the top of the Vancouver Canucks future captain power rankings, based off of everything we have seen about him, everything we've learnt about him, everything we have acknowledged in the media about him. We talked about his younger brother earlier today. We're talking about Quinn Hughes, because this right here is the easiest choice the Vancouver Canucks have at their fingertips right now. All they gotta do is pull the trigger, and I wanted to talk about why. Based off of all the interviews that we have seen, Rick Tocchet and his crew, they really do believe that Quinn Hughes is the guy to take over the C. Upon being asked who has the best characteristics of being the captain, Rick Tocchet has already name-dropped Hughes specifically multiple times. And when you listen to Quinn Hughes on the interviews, you could tell that this is a player that's a lot more receptive to the media than Elias Pettersson is. Pettersson has his moments. Yes, he jokes around with the media once in a while. He has the death stare. When he gets a dumb question asked, he'll kind of give a side eye and give a tongue-in-cheek answer. Pettersson is just purely focused on hockey, and the media doesn't really seem like a game that he wants to play. And that's okay, but when you take a look at what the role and responsibilities of a captain entail, being the guy who stands up to face the media, being the guy who gives articulate answers, and is able to provide the necessary quotes, that is also part of a captain's responsibility. When the Vancouver Canucks lost in Game 7 in the finals to the Boston Bruins, both Henrik and Daniil stuck around in Rogers Arena for I think it was 2 hours to answer repeated questions about how they lost and how they weren't good enough and how Boston was better, etc., etc. Like, you don't want to do that, but you have to. As the captain, you have to. And for Quinn Hughes, we have seen just from his personality and the way he responds to the media, he always gives articulate answers. He always gives thought to what it is he's being presented with. And he's got a temperament on the ice that is not as fiery, not as hot-tempered as JT Miller's is, for example. Quinn Hughes has just exhibited so much mature leadership on and off the ice that this is the guy that I feel has really risen up to the captaincy status of the Vancouver Canucks, whether or not he has that C. If Elias Pettersson wants it, then okay, I wouldn't be surprised if the Canucks gave it to him. But based off of his personality and his values, I wouldn't be surprised if Pettersson straight up just didn't want to be the captain. For Hughes, it feels more so like he has embraced that role already, based off of how his teammates and how the coaching staff is saying he's become a leader this year. In fact, we had ourselves an article gone over on The Province, written by Ben Kuzma, talking about why the prolific and well-educated Quinn Hughes should eventually be captain. I was going to say will be captain, but it says he should eventually be the captain. And if you take a look at some of the quotes here that Ben Kuzma writes about when it comes to Quinn, as much as the electric Elias Pettersson is the face of the franchise and deserves captaincy consideration, it's Quinn Hughes who's wired to be a willing conduit between the team and the outside world. That would allow Petey to keep piling up the points without worrying about pressure to dissect every win or loss before a sea of microphones. However, there's a sensible side to Hughes that lends itself to the conversation when head coach Rick Tocchet will appoint a captain and when that may occur. Hughes says in an interview, "I'm still a young guy, I make mistakes, and everybody in here definitely knows I'm still learning and definitely don't have all the answers. It's been a tough year, to be honest. When you think of everything that has gone down, it's tough to keep your emotions level." However, when it comes to being the captain, he says that it's an extraordinary honor. It's really special, but to be honest, it's not my main focus. Getting an A wasn't my main focus either, and when they told me after the All-Star game I was getting one, I was happy. I have a lot of things in my mind. I want to be in the playoffs and I want to keep taking my game to another level. They don't need the captaincy soon. If they give it a year or two or whenever they decide, I don't think anybody feels pressure in here or that they need to do something. I'm just as good as anyone right now, but next year I could start terrible if I have a bad summer. So many defensemen in the league are good and having extraordinary years, and it's always changing. I think a lot of it is that if you're really an elite defenseman, you have to be competing and at least be in the playoffs. That hasn't been something I can say. I don't think this is the peak for me at all. I feel hungry right now. More hungry than usual. And that really goes out there and articulates his personality. He's a good quote. Quinn Hughes has some really good comments, and I think just his mindset, he seems really unshakable. He believes everything that he says, and there's so much vindication when he says it. You all saw the video of Quinn Hughes shattering a golf ball, right? And he smiled for the first time I've ever seen him on camera smile, but he also said, hey, yeah, I broke the golf ball, right? I won. He fully, in his heart of hearts, believed that he did that. And that is such an interesting personality trait because it speaks to just how he's able to communicate what's on his mind. Quinn Hughes, when he talks to the media, when he talks to his teammates, he fully believes everything that he says, and that is something that I can't say is a trait most of these other people in life just generally have. Sure, you can say the right things on paper, but sometimes you just don't really believe it. For Bo Horvat, when he started to become all repetitive with the, oh, we need to be better, we need to do this, we need to be better, at some point it felt like he was just a robot, repeating the same things over and over again. And for Quinn Hughes, I find that sort of pattern won't really be there. Sure, he can say the same things, but you can just tell that when he says something, he believes it. Same thing with Miller, honestly. When Miller talks about how crappy he's been playing, you know that he means it. It's not really a cut and paste type of thing. There's a lot of detail there. And for Quinn Hughes, I feel like there are similar elements. It's just he's got a better personality suited to being a captain. And that's an opinion that I think is generally shared by the bulk of the Canucks fan base who's been paying attention to this entire thing. So, at this point in time, the choice is obvious. The choice is easy. Vancouver, if you want to do it, you got to do it right. Quinn Hughes is the guy. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the Canucks captaincy search? If there even is a search. If you feel like there isn't a search and they're not really desperate to giving a captain, then okay, that's fine. That's totally your prerogative as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section if that's the case. But for Quinn Hughes right now, is he the best candidate? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.